Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Well, it's Monday, the 26th of December, 2022, and it's the day after Christmas, and I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas this past weekend. And we're into the last few days of 2022 and the end of the quarter, and everybody knows that that means that there's a lot of push to try to get the production and the deliveries completed for this quarter. So a few things I want to talk about with that in mind today. First of all, as you can see here, I want to say congratulations to Tesla and also Giga Texas, the 4680 production team. They've now hit a run rate of over 868,000 4680 cells a week, which becomes nearly 4 million per month. That would be enough on a monthly basis to make over 4,000 4680 Model Ys. So I think it's a great turning point, and as we get into 2023, we're probably going to start seeing some Model Ys that have the 4680s here in addition to the 2170s. Now, as you can see by this image here, this is a picture of the team inside this building right behind me. I know that there's been some questions about people on social media thinking this is just Kato Road, but it's not. It's right here, right behind me in this building. So the production of the 868,000 per week and almost 4 million per month is kind of split between Kato Road and Giga Texas. So there's some in California, some here in Texas, but it's a great sign nonetheless. And I just want to say congratulations to the 4680 teams in both California and Texas, but also the guys right here in this factory right behind me. The next thing I want to talk about real quick is sort of a follow-up on my 23 December video. As you can see here, there's some more work going inside that main entrance on the west. Specifically, they're now excavating some of that concrete slab just inside of the glass windows and the glass doors. So continues to have more reconfiguration there. And of course, the last thing I want to talk about that goes to production, as you can see here, there's still quite a bit of Model Ys being produced even on this holiday. They're being moved over to the new car staging and transportation lot. And as I've been filming all day, and as you can see by these images, transport trucks have been coming and going filled with Model Ys and departing the site. So the big push for the end of the quarter and to the end of the year is definitely going on here at Giga Texas, as it is most likely in all the other factories for Tesla. But that's it for what I want to talk about the intro. We get a chance to see a really nice sunrise over Giga Texas this morning in the early parts of the video, and then a lot of other interesting sights along the construction area where not a lot of construction going on today, but still production. As always, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate the support, and have a great week.
A special thank you to all of my outstanding Patreons for your continued encouragement and support. Patreon members get access to hundreds of high-resolution photos, previews of the future material, and direct dialogue with me. If you would like to support my channel, please consider becoming a patron using this link, which is also in the video description. Please also consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. For today, I thought I would start off a very nice shot from the west, looking towards the east over a brightly lit Giga Texas on this holiday Monday, the day after Christmas. And this quick video shows the sun rising across a wide open horizon, lots of very beautiful oranges, and just a great way to start the last week of the fourth quarter and the last week of 2022. So let's get ready to get a little bit closer in and take a look at some of the activity in and around Giga Texas. As we arrive on the west side of General Assembly at the main entrance, I wanted to give you a quick update from what I talked about on my 23 December video, where I showed you all of the changes that have happened inside this main entrance and outside right in the apron in front of the glass over the last year. And today there is some more progress, and what we see here is concrete starting to be removed inside. You can see a large section on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side you can see some of those concrete sections that have been saw cut and then stacked ready for movement out of this section. So it looks like we're going to see quite a bit of more concrete work. Also, you can see some of those temporary poles holding up the edges of the second floor that's been cut away. This kind of suggests that we may see some additional rework, possibly some removal of more of that second floor. So the renovation and the work that is going on inside to transform this continues. And this is a good view of the outside apron as it looks today, with all of the concrete removed as well. So the reconfiguration work will be both inside and outside. I'm also going to take this opportunity with the lighting to take a look inside the third floor of the General Assembly, where you see quite a bit of materials have been staged and stored, and also the entire third floor is now lit up, which is a change which I noted on my 21 December video. The other thing I want to show as we continue further to the south is some looks into the second floor as well. Now, it's a little bit difficult because of all the trailers that are getting ready to come to these receiving docks, but the reason why I want to show you this is I also was talking in my 23 December video about the work that's being done inside here on the ground floor and extending onto the second floor for the production lines, or the General Assembly lines 2 and 3 that are being added in. And here you can see through some of the windows, and I'll get a little bit lower, and you can see where the floor, the second floor, has been cut through, and now there's machinery that kind of stick up through the far end, and you can also see a open section kind of in the middle of this floor that looks down into the ground floor. And recently a couple of articles have come out about some additional permits that Tesla has filed to complete the electric vehicle interior assembly section, and this is what they are referring to, this entire section of the building, and it is being prepared for those production lines, which would include the Cybertruck. Now, I popped up a little bit because there was a obstruction, but I'll bring it down just a little bit more, and you can again see where the floor has been opened up right in the middle. And you can also see continued expansion work on the far wall. There used to be a temporary wall there, but it has been removed. It looks like more and more materials and racking systems have been installed. You can also see here some plastic wrap, and for a brief moment you'll be able to see down through the open section of the floor onto the ground floor, where you'll see many of the Model Ys that have just been produced that are getting ready to exit the vehicle, and then proceed over to the new vehicle staging and transportation lot. So you can kind of see it right here. A little bit difficult lighting now that the sun is up, but I thought you might find this look inside the newly configured section of the building for General Assembly lines 2 and 3 interesting. So let's pull away and get an overall view of the south end today. So overall, the entire south end continues to be a lot of activity with the work on that south end. All of the concrete has now been saw cut and removed. There's still some sections remaining to be removed from this area, but all the concrete's now removed. A lot of the steel corrugated pipe has been brought here and is being installed on the south end just north of the cyber pond. You can also see here this east material staging location. Almost all of the steel components have now been moved. They are either being used inside or, as we'll see at the end of the video, transported over to the northwest new staging locations. So for some reason, they are clearing this section out. You can see that on the left-hand side of the screen. All that remains there now are those crates with the blue topping, and these are part of the AIDA stamping press that's being installed in the stamping 2 at the south end of the building. Let's come back here quickly and take a look at the work that is going on here. You can see these green boxes and some of the low power lines. Those are getting ready to be removed. You can also see a steel corrugated pipe being installed here with a 90-degree turn in that familiar diamond edge of the shape that the building is also constructed in. And you can see the materials that continue to be staged here on the south side of the cyber pond. And then as we turn back towards the factory, we'll get an idea of how that construction site looks at a lower level. You can also see across the highway, and the warehouse on wheels expansion is continuing to grow, and more trailers are showing up on that section that has been prepared to allow for that warehouse on wheels concept to continue to keep pace with the production that is going on here at Giga Texas. You can see many Model Ys on the left-hand side here and also on the southwest corner of the building. You can also see more getting ready to be lined up here to go over to the east staging and transportation lot. And you can also see others at the superchargers getting what, with the flashing lights, probably some sort of software. And another vehicle just exited the building. So despite the relative lack of construction on this holiday morning, there is quite a bit of production of vehicles going on. And as we approach this part, I just want to give you a good look at the trenching work that is going on, and it looks like they're filling in the trench now at the base of the building. Could not look inside stamping 2. The door was down, and with some of the activity, I couldn't get the drone low enough. But I'll try again in another day. And here's a good low view of the materials and components that are for the AIDA stamping press. You can also see one of those blue water pipes that's being assembled and most likely going to be installed in a trench in this area at some point soon. So let's go ahead and climb up and proceed up to the north and take a look at what is going on at the new vehicle temporary staging location and all of the new superchargers. This small parking lot with the helo pad has been reconfigured to allow for temporary staging of new vehicles until they are ready to be moved to the new vehicle staging and transportation lot. You can see quite a few Model Ys here as well. The 32 new supercharger installation looks nearly complete from the standpoint of the superchargers themselves and the electronic connections. Just waiting to see if the canopy that we talked about will be installed soon. I'm also giving you a good view here of the two areas where the apron has been removed. They've done a lot of extensive plumbing work, and now they're doing final work to prepare for the concrete to be reinstalled. And you can kind of see some of the roof activity with a lot of the steam rising from the vents and cooling ducts to show that production is underway today. Here's another section where some of the concrete's been removed, and this is all being reworked to accommodate some of the new receiving docks that have been cut into the walls. As I pull away here, you can see the intersection continues to have work. There's some frame or form work for curbs in kind of a rounded form in that middle of the screen, and they continue to have those diamond edges on the parking lots. Speaking of which, I will turn the drone towards the north and give you a good view of the new car staging and transportation lot. You see quite a few Model Ys here. There's trucks that are active and arriving on site. In fact, another one is rounding the corner at the top of the screen. It'll be entering this lot soon. While I was doing my flying and filming today, at least 10 different trucks were arriving and departing the site with Model Ys. And the Model Ys that were being picked up were being replaced almost as fast by new ones coming out of the factory. So the push for the end of the quarter is definitely on here at Giga Texas, and it does not seem like they're letting up at all, despite the holiday today. As I pull the drone back to the southeast, this is a good view of the warehouse on wheels, and you can see just how packed it is here, and that is why it's so important for them to have that expansion on the west side of the highway so that they can keep up with production. Here's some more of the concrete sections that on the bottom of the screen that were cut and removed from that south end. A lot more of the vehicles, equipment, and materials on this side. You can also see on the right-hand side of the screen more of the concrete that was pulled up from the south end, and many of the trailers that serve as the offices for the primary contractors that are working here at Giga Texas. So let's proceed up to the battery cathode plant and take a look at the activity, or at least the progress that has happened over the last several days. Some of the changes that have happened in the last week have been a movement of that white tent to a new location, some more trenching. They've added some of this gravel aggregate mix to help with the mud with all of the rains that we've had in the last week or so. And you can see a lot more materials that have been delivered, and they're being moved up onto those two platforms on the east side of the building. On the west side of the building, looks like most of the work is not underway this early morning on Monday. Could be because of the holidays, or it could be because it's just been so cold and the crews are waiting for it to warm up, which thankfully is happening this week. But what you can see is that dense section of piers on the left side have those two trenches on either side and more of the footings being installed. The orange wrapping that you can see is to protect newly poured concrete to allow it to cure during these extremely cold temperatures that came through the region in the last few days. But overall, you can see how the footing work is continuing, and some of them are being filled back in a little bit while other ones still have forms for more of the concrete. Now here with the pipe manifold construction, some of the white insulating material put onto them, and also the work underneath this steel structure to start assembling all of those pipes is underway. And you can actually see some of the pipes on the right-hand side of the structure kind of sticking up at that corner. And you can also see some other pipes on the middle section where these open rectangular sections are have been installed as well. So let's proceed up to the north and take a look at some of the activity on the north end of the battery cathode plant. And as you can see, the work is kind of at a stop at the moment because of the holiday, but fortunately, it looks like some of the water is starting to drain away, which is a great sign for production later this week. You can also see the staging location on the upper part of the screen on that rectangular section as continues to grow. More materials here. Also some of the workshops in the middle. And this field right at the bottom and middle of the screen is where they continue to fill in these water detention ponds. It looks like they are starting to reclaim this for potentially further construction, or maybe parking, or it could be a yard of some kind for materials. Speaking of which, quite a bit of materials, trailers, and other devices and parts on this side of the building waiting for installation. You can see the big white tent that has been recently moved, and also that green kind of tent structure, which is a workshop. And you can also see some very interesting and growing white painted materials here. It looks to me like these may be some sort of rack mounts for equipment, and also some platforms. Not exactly sure what it is, but here's a good close view. So if you know, let me know in the comments of the video. I would very much appreciate it. It also looks like there's a concrete wall section on that trailer getting ready for installation and some work on that inside very tall section of the building. So as we cross over the roof and go over this west foundation construction site, let's proceed over to the electrical switch yard and just take a look at the progress that's happened in the last few days. So what we see at this construction site is that it looks like the work is on a slight pause due to the holiday today, but they have made a lot of progress with the cable trays, the cable tray trenches, and some more of the steel assembly on the main electrical switchyard components as well. You can see now there's two of these projections towards the steel materials from the cable tray trench. This will allow the cables and the various conduits and wiring to be connected and eventually get over to that steel structure, which is the control room. I would expect to see at least two more of these projections of that cable tray trench over towards the steel components. One of the things I'm looking at here is to see if there's any signs of the large transformers arriving on site yet. I don't see them, but the two concrete pads look like some other materials have been delivered and they are ready for the delivery of those transformers and then the installation. Here's a good overall view of how this looks today with that control room on the right hand side of the screen. So let's proceed back over towards the main building and take a look at what is going on at the north end today. On the east side of the casting machine structure, it looks like quite a few more castings have been produced, which is great to see. It shows that there's no stopping in the production of the casting, which is a direct relation to the production of vehicles. Speaking of which, here's three vehicles that look like they're in primer and then a number of castings nearby. Now, these vehicles have the floors and they do not have castings on the front, so this would be 2170 versions. But I'm not sure why they have so many of these other castings here nearby. Perhaps it's some additional testing that is going on, but it could be, I don't know, related to the announcement of the 4680 ramp now hitting nearly 4 million per month. So maybe they're getting ready to restart the line for 4680 variants at some point in the future here at Giga Texas, maybe after the first of the year. But anyway, it's interesting to see more of those test components sitting outside on the northeast corner of the casting machine structure. Looks like most of the ducting in the red, the green, and some of the blue components is waiting still outside here to be moved inside. Because it's so cold, they have all of the doors pretty much shut here, which I do not blame them in for any reason whatsoever, because it is a cold morning. Stop here at the northwest corner just to take a look at the progress with the enclosures and ducting installation. Just one more enclosure still is remaining to be completed, and then some of the duct work needs to have the final parts installed as well. But you can also see a lot of the steam rising, so it shows that there is activity going on inside the factory despite the relative slow construction day. So let's proceed across the highway. Since it is a holiday, there's very little traffic across the highway, which is a great thing. And I want to just show you some of the changes and the additional material that's accumulating on these couple of material staging locations. First, you can see that the amount of steel has definitely been growing here, and there's trucks waiting to offload more equipment. And here's some more of the trucks as well. And this staging location continues to accumulate a lot more of the materials. Now, the interesting thing is that the gray steel on the bottom of the screen is some of that new steel deliveries that we've seen further to the north. In the middle, you can see a lot of the equipment related to this workshop, and some of this is welding equipment. And then this brown material, I think that some of this used to be on that east side staging on the south end, and it's been relocated up to this staging location. For some reason, they need to clear out that east side, so it's something else that I will continue to watch. It may be related to the start of construction, or at least more heavy construction on that south side. This staging location continues to have some fencing installed, a few trailers in the middle, and then the materials on the south side have pretty much been static for the last few weeks. And there's other materials that are being accumulated here on the north and east sides, and some more of the vegetation and plants that will be used for landscaping at some point in the future. As we do the grand pull away, take a look at the west side of the highway with all of the material staging, the warehouse on wheels, and some of the work to build that west support facility underway. Trying to give you a good view of the roof, and you can see all the solar panels with that middle Tesla emblem are complete. Over 30,000 solar panels have now been installed. So that's a brief look at Giga Texas on this holiday Monday. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great week.